I'm sorry, Qtronman. I had no idea what I was dealing with. I thought I was dealing with like a serious person, right? But this is like, I mean, this is like high school stuff. I mean, this is really bad. This is really, really bad. This is what I expect when I'm talking to like a neo-Nazi or a skinhead, which I talk to quite a bit. This is the kind of crap I expect from like a white nationalist, right? This is not what I expect from a serious person. All right? I mean, this is like what people in college talk about. This is not like serious philosophy. I mean, this is, I mean, like no serious philosopher would say that doing drugs is immoral. All right? I hate to break it to you, but no serious philosopher would say such nonsense like that. I mean, like I say, like, here's where this comes from. I say that D4 Sean doing heroin is not immoral. I say, plus, there's nothing immoral about being a heroin addict from any common first principles. By that I mean, I don't know how you could say that doing heroin is immoral, reasoning from the principle that killing people is bad, right? And Qtronman responds, well, that says everything about your own philosophy. I'm sorry, I just can't bring myself to argue against this, against you. Maybe later. And this all just goes back to the objective morality thing. This is like, I mean, if you think that there's some objective morality that could somehow decree that doing heroin is bad, and why would it be bad? I mean, what is the moral principle that makes doing heroin bad? Is it because heroin is bad for the user? Well, if heroin is bad for the user, well, shit, eating French fries is bad for the user. Stubbing your toe is bad for you. I mean, have you ever stubbed your toe, Qtronman? Oh, how immoral. Have you ever eaten a hamburger, Qtronman? How immoral. Have you ever eaten gravy on your mashed potatoes? Like, how many times have you been immoral based on that? Okay, but okay, it's not that. Fine, then it's not that. All right, well, maybe it's because it hurts other people. Maybe because doing the heroin causes you to do things that hurt other people. Well, then what you're saying is that the immorality has nothing to do with the heroin, but with the immoral act. And so if, like Sean, you did heroin but did not hurt anybody because of it, then doing the heroin would not be immoral because it did not hurt anybody. It did not aggress against anybody. It only harmed the person, which we've just covered. So if you want to say that there's this objective morality, that, you know, somewhere, somehow, doing heroin is bad, like in a vacuum. Because you can't reason, you know, doing heroin being bad from any rational postulate. I mean, you can't say, like, you can't go from killing people is bad, like the subjective absolute postulate that comes from nowhere, like saying, killing someone who didn't do anything to you is bad. Like, that's like the absolute postulate that comes from nowhere. Like, reasoning from that, you couldn't possibly get doing heroin is bad. I mean, the only way you could get to doing heroin is bad is if you say doing heroin is bad, if you make that the first principle. You can only get that if you say that doing heroin is bad is the first principle. And boy, I don't know where, and the only way you could get from that, really, is if you had some sort of ideal of an objective morality. And if you want to say, and if Qtronman, if you want to say that there's this objective morality, well, then show me it. Like, either show me a picture of it or show me some indirect evidence of this objective morality. Like, there's all this dark matter out there. Maybe this dark matter, maybe that's the morality. Maybe all this dark matter that scientists don't know what it is. Maybe it's morality. Like, so I don't, I don't need a photograph. It may be like exist in the X-ray spectrum, okay, or it may exist in, you know, the UV ray spectrum. I mean, I don't know what spectrum this morality exists in. Maybe it's that dark matter, you know, and we can detect the dark matter by like the motion of the stars, you know, existing as if they're moving around something with a high gravitational pull, but you can't see it, so they assume that it's dark matter. Maybe that's the morality. Maybe there's all this morality that's floating out there, and this morality, this objective morality, says doing heroin is antithetical to the morality or something like that. I mean, you need to explain this objective morality to me, because Because if you're going to try to explain this objective morality based on what goes on inside your brain, Qtronman, or what goes inside people's brains, I mean, that's a self-defeating argument, because what goes on inside people's brain is, by definition, syllogistically subjective, right? Because we are the subject. We are the subject. And so our view of the world is subjective. Our entire view of the world is subjective. Your belief that when you pick up a pencil and drop a pencil, that it will go down, that belief is based on a subjective perception of the world. Now, it is a subjective perception of an objective universe, right? There actually are objects out there for us to perceive. There are actually objects out there for the subject to perceive, but the perspective is necessarily subjective. And unless you can prove that there's some morality floating around out there, like if you commit a moral act, that there will be some physical, moral stuff, I mean, even if it exists in other wavelengths, and even if it's like antimatter that passes through you, all right, if you can prove that there is some objective morality, then this argument would hold water. But until then, this argument of objective morality seems to be nothing more than an archon, no more phantasmagorical, or no less phantasmagorical than an appeal to God. All right, I'm going to put a little add-on here. I think when Qtronman says that morality is objective, I think what he really means is that morality can be applied consistently, right? I think what he means is that from a set of first principles, that I keep saying, first principle, that from a set of first principles, you can then objectively apply morality from, like, a set of first principles. Like, if your postulate is that unprovoked aggression against someone else, or non-proportional aggression, or some postulate about aggression, that aggression is bad, from this postulate, you can then say that taxation is evil, because taxation requires coercion, which is aggression against someone who didn't do anything against you. Because if you don't pay your taxes, prison or get shot, right? Okay. And so from that, you can objectively apply morality, but this does not mean objective morality. Not even UPB is objective morality. Now, UPB in my opinion, and I think UPB is great. I think UPB is fantastic, and I think everyone should go read it. But UPB is not objective morality. Now, UPB gets pretty close and gets pretty much like, it's effectively like objective morality. UPB is effectively like objective morality in the sense that if someone claims that rape is moral, that person would then, have to say that, like, that the person who is not raping is immoral, and so it is moral to rape, but by raping someone, you have forced that person to not rape, which forces that person to be immoral. So therefore, rape cannot be moral. So from that, you can say that you can kind of create a objective morality, but even that is based on a first principle, right? So basically, with UPB, what you can do is you can prove that the first principle, rape is moral, is self-detonating. Like, that's what you can do with UPB, but UPB is not objective morality, although it comes pretty damn close to behaving like objective morality. And the reason this objective morality thing is important, I mean, it's not just some abstract philosophical concept, is because objective morality is used to advance a whole lot of stupid shit. All right, it's used to ban pornography. It's used to attack gays. It's used to objective morality allows people to say that things they don't like are immoral because they can appeal to some archon of morality, right? And like if they say that the Bible defines morality, then whatever crazy ass shit is written in the Bible is morality, and they can attack people based on what's written in the Bible. Just like Qtronman can say that people who use drugs are immoral because he's appealing to the Ayn Rand archon of morality. And when you have an archon of morality, when you have this objective morality, then what you can do is you can have, in theory, you can morally have a state. If you have an objective morality, then in theory you can morally have a state. But even that is filled with a bunch of problems. You have to determine, you know, how the state can get funds, how the state can, you know, can compel people to give money to the state, and you know, you have to. There's a whole bunch of problems. You have to basically, if you're going to have objective morality to justify a state, then you have to say that, like, that the collection of taxes, that the immorality of collecting the taxes outweighs the immorality of not paying the taxes, and you have to be able to show that, and you have to be able to show that you can weigh morality. You have to be able to show that, you know, committing an immoral act in order to prevent an even more immoral act is moral.